Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to walk you through how to make this simple crocheted mosaic square that I call Swirl. The method I use is a version of the inset mosaic, but if you are familiar with the regular method, you'll notice a few differences in my charts and the way that I do this. This came about from playing around with both inset and overlay methods, and somewhere along the line I found this technique worked best for me. I'm sure it's used by a few others, but not sure it has a name. I work these squares mostly the same in that the pieces work back and forth with both a right side and a wrong side, and one color is worked for 2 rows and you only change colors on the right side row. There are a few differences. Where the regular method uses a chain stitch, I work a single crochet into the back loop only of that specific stitch, and it leaves the front loop free to be worked into by the double crochet. All other single crochet are worked into both loops as per regular inset method. And then on the wrong side rows, I work straight regular single crochet across the entire row. It makes for a simpler wrong side row, and I find this eliminates the loose chains on the back of the work, giving the work a firmer fabric. The similarity to the overlay method is that the double crochet stitches will now lie in front of the work and therefore overlaying the single crochet rows. So let's take another look at this chart, and again you can download this chart for free over on my blog post. Look for the link in the description below. You're going to find 3 symbols: a blank square, which is a regular single crochet, an arc, which is a single crochet in back loop only, and an X, which is a double crochet in front loop only, worked 2 rows below. Only the right side rows are on the chart, and this is why you see odd row numbers running up the side. All the even rows are the wrong side rows, and they are not marked on the chart as they are all just plain regular single crochet, and there's no chart reading required for those. So this is a brief explanation, but I'll have a more in-depth video on the hows and whys of these charts and how to create the stitches. I'll drop that in the description below, and you can check it out if you'd like me to explain this further. This square is worked over 21 stitches and 26 rows using a 5mm hook and a number 4 weight yarn, which is worsted weight. The finished square measures 7 inches by 7 inches. You can find more info on what yarn I used over on my blog post. So let's get started with a slip stitch so we can do our chain. So one of the methods I like to use most often with the slip stitch is I lie my yarn with the end facing me and my palm up. And then I will rotate my hand and wrap it over my first 2 fingers, take it back down again, turn my hand over, cross over the yarn that was already there and hold it down with my thumb, and then rotate my hand again and go over 3 fingers. And I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm going to go under the first one, over the second one, and pull it underneath. Pull the loop up and twist my crochet hook towards me so the loop twists on the crochet hook. And then I'm going to slip my fingers out and just pull on the ends, not too tight, because I want to pull an opposite direction and pull it up to the hook. And there is a slip knot. So let's get going on our chain. So we want to chain 22 stitches, and that's because our chart is 21, and then we want the extra 1 for the turning chain. So we're going to chain 22. I'm just doing this quickly, and let's count what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't count the one on the hook. 19, 20, 21, and the 1 extra turning chain for 22. Now we're going to be starting with row 1, and we're going to go into the second chain from the hook, and we're going to single crochet. So pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. That's our first single crochet, and we're going to continue to single crochet all the way across. So this is considered row 1 on our chart. And again, if it's a blank square on the chart, it's considered a normal single crochet. And when I single crochet into my chain, I always just go into the top loop. There's different ways, everybody does it a little bit different, but I just go into the top loop. And you're just going to work your way across, single crochet in each of these chain loops, and then you're going to end up with 21. And another thing that's very important is to always count, oops, slipped off there. Always count your stitches. It's easy to increase or lose a stitch when you're working with the mosaic simply because there's going to be some skipped stitches when we do our double crochets. And the chart won't work if you end up with the wrong number. So here we are in our last one. This will be 21. And then we're going, that's row 1. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work, and now we're going to work row 2. So we're working now along the wrong side. And all wrong side rows are going to be single crochet. So what I love about this method is that every second row I don't have to think about because it's done in the same color as the row before. And it's just a single crochet row. So at the end of this row, we're going to change into our contrasting color, and then we're going to work row 3. So again, the rows on the chart are only the odd numbered rows because the even numbered rows are always a straight single crochet. And now we've come to our last. We're going to pull up a loop, and this is where we're going to change our color. So we're going to pick up our contrast color, which in this case is white, and you're going to wrap it around the loop and pull through the 2 loops on the hook. And now we've changed our color. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and now we're working on row 3. And we're going to start following the chart again. So you can see the first square is a blank square, which is a plain single crochet. So every row will start with a single crochet on the right side. Every row will start with a single crochet of the color that you're using. So in the second square, we have an arc, and the arc is single crochet in back loop only. And again, it's a dark color, but you ignore that because you are doing this entire row in white. The colors are there again, just so you can see the finished look. There's going to be a double crochet over top of that stitch. So everywhere there's an arc, there's going to be an X in the row above it. So again, second stitch is going to be an arc. It's back loop only, single crochet. So we go into this back loop right here, and we do a single crochet. And then pretty much the rest of the row is blank squares. So we're going to single crochet, and I'm just going to show you here. First stitch was a single crochet. Second stitch was a back loop only. So you can see here how there's a front loop sitting out there. That front loop right there is going to be what you're going to work your double crochet into. So we're going to continue across, and we're going to single crochet in every one of these next stitches until we get to the last 2 stitches. So it actually works out to 17 single crochets. And what I love about charts is when most of the row is this way, I just count back from the other end. But you always do want to make sure when you're finished the row that you have the right number of stitches. So we'll keep working our way across here till we get to those last 2 stitches. So now we have 2 stitches left. You want to do there's an arc in this one, so back loop, single crochet, and then a regular single crochet, which again, you're going to always end with a normal single crochet. So there is row number 3. So you're not really seeing the magic happen yet. That starts to happen on row 5. So let's chain 1, turn our work around to the wrong side, and we're going to single crochet across. And this is the best place for me, I find, to count my stitches. So there's 1, 2, 20, and 21. And we're just going to pull up our first loop because we're going to change our color here. Always changing our color when we hit the end of the wrong side row. So see how we have the blue hanging here? When I'm working with the 2 colors, I don't cut my yarn. So It doesn't matter whether you pick it up from behind or whether you pick it up in front, as long as you're consistent, and then it will always wrap the same way. I always pick it up from behind and leave the front down at the front. Now it will twist my yarn as it goes, but I like the look of it. So I pick up the blue and I complete this single crochet. So I wrap the yarn around and I pull through both loops. Then I chain one and I turn and I'm ready for row number 5. First stitch again is a blank square and it's always a single crochet, and on the chart you'll see it is always the color that you're working with. Then the second stitch is an X, and the X is the double crochet in front of your work through the missed loop from 2 rows below. So this loop right here, this front loop that wasn't worked into, is the one we're going to work into. So a double crochet is going to lie on front of the work. So wrap your yarn around your hook once and then bring the hook down, and you're going from bottom to top. So you go from underneath and up, and you're going to work into this stitch, just a simple double crochet. And it's going to lie on front of your work, as you can see here, right on front. And you're going to miss the stitch behind so that you don't increase any stitches. So this stitch right here is not going to get worked into from the previous row. Instead, we're going to go to the next stitch, and the chart says it's an arc. So again, it's a back loop only. So work into this back loop only, single crochet, and another arc, back loop only. And now we're back to working blank square single crochets. So as you see again, those 2 arcs, the squares themselves are white, but you ignore that because what's going to happen is those are going to be white double crochets, 2 rows going on. So the chart is more so you can see what the finished product is going to look like, but you will always be working with only 1 color each row. So we're going to go ahead and single crochet in 15 stitches. So for these plain single crochets, I'm going kind of quickly. So if you need to, you can pause the video until you get to the end of the row as well, and then we can work together. So here we are now, last 2 stitches, and we're going to have an X, which means there should be a loop down here 2 rows below, always the same color as what I'm working with. And there it is right there. And we want to work a double crochet. So wrap the yarn around once, bring the hook down and up through that single loop, and then you work a double crochet. And then you end the round with a single crochet. Oops. There we go. And now you can see, you're starting to see how it's taking shape. So see how we have a double crochet on either end here that's lying in front of the work. So there's your overlay, and that's going to create your design. So we chain 1, and now we're working our even number row again. And the even row is a plain single crochet. So going forward, I'm just going to show you the right side rows, and then the wrong side rows I'll leave to you, and I'll meet you back at them. So here again, we reach the end of row number 6, and we pull up 1 loop, and then we're going to change colors. So I leave the blue to the what I would call the back, but to the right side of the work. And then the white comes up here, and we're going to use that, pull a loop through, and we've now changed our color, and chain 1. Now we're on to row 7. And that's going to be white. So we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, always a single crochet. And then the second stitch is an arc. So back loop only, single crochet. Then we're going to have an X. So that's going to be double crochet in this loop sitting here. So this is one of the reasons that I do this particular method. When you come along and there's a loop sitting there, you should be working a double crochet into it. If for some reason you missed it on the row before, it really is best to rip it back and do it again because it doesn't look consistent. So what you always want is to have that loop waiting for you when you come up to an X. So the next stitch is an X, so wrap the yarn around, insert your hook from bottom to top, and work a double crochet And then the next stitch is the same. So if you fold your work back, the loop kind of sticks out. So wrap your yarn around, insert it in, and double crochet. So there are your 2 X's. Now you're going to miss the 2 stitches lying behind it, this one and this one. And then you're going to work into this next stitch, which happens to be an arc on the chart. So we're going to work into back loop only. So single crochet, back loop only, and then another arc, single crochet, back loop only. And now we're back to the normal single crochets. We have solid squares in front of us, and there looks like there is 13 of them. So we work our way across, and it's actually going to take us again to the second last stitch. So we're going to double crochet. Oops, so we're not. This is an arc. See how easily you can get off your row. So pay attention to your rows. It's really good sometimes to have a highlighter. We're going to do single crochet and back loop only. And then we're going to do a regular single crochet. And that takes us to the end of row 7. So now you can start to see a little bit of the pattern showing up here. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to work across row 8 in only single crochets. So I'll meet you at the end of this row and we'll be ready to start row 9. So row number 9, we're going to be starting with our blue. Reading the chart, the first stitch will be a single crochet, and then moving ahead we have an X. Again, the X is going to be a double crochet in the front loop only 2 rows below. So wrap our yarn around, go up from the bottom, pull the loop through. Now you have 3 loops on the hook, and now we're going to go 2 loops and 2 loops, and that's the double crochet lying across the front of your work. Next you'll have 2 arcs, which are 2 single crochet back loop only. Now remember to miss the stitch behind the stitch you just worked, the double crochet. Going into the next one, we do a single crochet back loop only and a single crochet back loop only, and now those 2 front loops will be waiting for us. But continuing with row 9, we have 2 more X's. So wrap the yarn around, go down, and there is our front loop waiting for us. Work a double crochet into that front loop, and then another one, double crochet into the front loop. Then we have 2 more arcs. So we go and we skip the 2 stitches lying behind what we just did. Going into the next stitch, back loop only, work a single crochet, and 1 more. Back loop only, work into a single crochet. Now we have blank squares, and we have 9 of them. So we are going to single crochet over the next 9 stitches. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then we have 2 arcs. So we go back loop only, using our blue of course, and again back loop only, single crochet. Then we have an X, so our double crochet goes into a front loop only, and there it is lying right there waiting for us. So we go down, and from the bottom up we work a double crochet, and then we end with a blank square, so that's a single crochet. We finish row 9, and you can see our pattern starting to develop here. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to work row 10, which is a wrong side row, single crochet all the way across. That one's not on the chart. And I'll meet you back here for row number 11. So row number 11, we have our white ready to go here. Looking at the chart, again, we start with a single crochet, and then moving to the next stitch, we have an arc, which is single crochet in back loop only. And then we have 2 X's, so we need to do double crochet, look for the front loop only, and there it is, waiting for us. And another double crochet, front loop only, go from the bottom up and finish your double crochet. And again, they're lying in front of the blue row. And then you have 2 more arcs. So skip the 2 stitches behind the 2 stitches you just made with a double crochet. Then single crochet back loop only. And again, single crochet back loop only. Then we have 2 more X's, so we're going to go down and look for those front loops that were not worked from the previous row. And we go down. It's actually 2 rows below because it's from the right side row. And we do 1 more. Remember to work from the bottom up with your hook. And then we have 2 more arcs, so we must miss those 2 stitches behind the ones we just worked. Back loop only, single crochet, and another back loop only, single crochet. Now we have 5 blank squares, so 5 regular single crochets. So we've got 3, 4, and 5. And now we have 2 arcs, so again, back loop only, single crochet, back loop only. And it leaves our front loops there for the next time we want to do the double crochets above. And then we have 2 X's, so we're going to go down 2 rows below, and there's our front loops. Another double crochet. Then we have an arc, so back loop only, making sure you skip those 2 stitches, back loop only, and we end with a single crochet. Chain 1, and you're going to turn and do a row of regular single crochet on the wrong side, and I'll meet you back here for row 13. Now we've worked our wrong side row and changed our color to blue, and you can see here at the side how you're getting a nice twist of colors all the way up. That's from me always picking up the yarn from the same direction, so it gives a nice tidy edge. So we're going to go ahead with row 13. So again, on our chart, the first square is a single crochet done in the blue, and then the next square is an X. So on our work, we're going to wrap the yarn around our hook and go down and look for that front loop only. We're going to go into that from the bottom and work our double crochet. And then we're going to miss the stitch behind, and going into the next stitch, it's an arc. So we work into the back loop only, leaving that front loop free. For 2 rows up, we're going to be using that one. And we work our second arc. And now we have 2 more X's, so wrap the yarn around, go down and look for your front loop only. And we work another one of those, front loop only, that's our 2 X's. And then look behind, you're going to miss those 2 stitches. Then we're going to go back loop only because we're working an arc, and then another arc. And then we have 2 more X's, so we're going to go down and work front loop only 2 rows below, wrap the yarn around and another one. And next on the chart we have 1 arc, so miss the 2 stitches behind, work single crochet and back loop only of the next stitch. Then we have 2 blank, so we go ahead and do 2 regular single crochets that go through both loops. And then we have 2 more arcs, so back loop only of the next 2 stitches, both single crochets, and then 2 X's, so wrap the yarn around, double crochet, and look down, there's your front loop. Again, that's why I love this, because they should be sitting there waiting for you. You don't have to guess which one they are. So we go from the bottom up and we do a double crochet, and again from the bottom up and a double crochet. Then we have 2 arcs, so we miss the 2 stitches behind, and we do single crochet back loop only 2 more times, And then we have an X, so there's our front loop waiting for us. Double crochet into the front loop only, and end with a blank square, single crochet, chain 1. We're going to turn our work and work our wrong side. But before we do that, let's just take a look here. You can see now how the pattern is starting to evolve. So again, make sure you're always counting those stitches so your pattern always works out. And take a look and make sure that it makes sense to you. And this is why we have the chart, because if you compare the two, you'll see what it looks like. If you have a blank spot where the chart shows you some color, that means that you might have missed some of the X's. So go back and make sure everything resembles what the chart looks like. It's really easy to miss those X's, and you end up with this blank spot and wonder why your pattern doesn't look like the chart. So I'm going to work across the wrong side row, and I'll meet you back here for row 15. So again, if you've forgotten what row you're on, take it around to the reverse, and we're going to go 1, 3, counting only the odd rows, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, next row is 15. That's how you keep track. Easy way to keep track. So 15 has a white square. We know we're in the right place. So the next one is an arc, back loop only. Isn't it great how there's only like a few stitches to remember? So the next stitch is 2 X's. So an X, and there should be 2 back loops, front loops waiting for me, and there are. So we go down and we go front loop only with a double crochet. And we work into that front loop that's hanging there waiting for us, that wasn't worked into 2 rows below. Then we have an arc, so make sure you skip those 2 stitches. If you don't do that, you're going to end up increasing your stitches and wonder where you picked up that extra one. So, and another arc, so back loop only. Then we have 2 X's and we have 2 loops waiting for them. So down you go and into those. And again, in you go. Okay. So again, let's make sure we know where we are. So we have the single crochet, the back loop only. These are the most obvious, so it's easy to just say, well, let's see, there's 2 X's there and there's 2 X's there. So I have 2 regular single crochets coming up. So just make sure that you skip those 2 stitches. Single crochet, which is both loops, go under both of those loops. Then we have another X, and there's my loop waiting for me. Down I go into that loop. Use your thumb to help navigate around the work and hold those loops out for yourself. And now we have 2 arcs, so we miss this stitch into the next one and into the next one. So we've just done 2 back loop onlys. Then we have 2 X's and we have our 2 loops here waiting for us. So in we go, another double crochet. Then we have back loop only, so make sure you miss 2, back loop only, and another back loop only, and 2 more X's. So you're kind of working over the top and then back down in front. So this row is, I think, the busiest of the entire chart. So we only have 2 stitches left. So miss those 2, an arc is back loop only, and then single crochet in the last stitch, chain 1. And before we turn our work, we're going to take a look. So I think we're a little past the halfway mark now, and you're actually seeing the design show up. So you know you're on the right path if it looks like what the chart looks like. So we're going to turn and we're going to single crochet across, and you're going to make sure you count your stitches so that you know that you're on track, and I'll meet you at the end of this row and we can start row 17. And we're on to row 17. So 17 is single crochet in the first stitch, and it's a blue. We know we're in the right track. Then we have an X, so wrap that yarn around and go down and look for that loop that's hanging out front here. And that's our double crochet. Now we have 2 back loop onlys. So back loop onlys, and they will happen right above the 2 X's from the one below. Then we have 2 more X's, and again, these are sitting right out front waiting for us, 2 rows below. And now we have 5 regular single crochets. So make sure you skip those 2 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and our 5th one. And now we're back to 2 X's, so we have our 2 loops waiting for us right here. So that's a double crochet, always out in front, and you just let it lie on top of the work. And then we miss those 2 stitches, back loops only, and then 2 more X's. Right, there you go. Miss the 2 stitches behind, back loop only over the next 2. And then now we have 1 X, and there it is, line right there. And we end with a regular single crochet and a chain 1. Okay, and we're going to turn and do our right side or our wrong side row, which is our even row. That feels like it's a little backwards, but that's the way it is. We're going to work across our wrong side, and I'll meet you back here for row 19. Okay, so we are going to leave our blue and pick up our white to change our color and get ready for row 19. And we flip it around and we're back in. Again, the rows are getting easier, and you can see again along this side right here, we have a nice, almost like a candy stripe all the way up, like a candy cane. And that gives you a nice even edge. And again, I'm going to be single crocheting all the way around this, so that will all get hidden into it. So we're going to single crochet in our first stitch, and then we're going to arc back loop only. And then we have 2 X's. So wrap the yarn around and come down and do a double crochet in the front loop only of 2 rows below. And there's the second one. Now the rest is single crochet. We're going to do 9 of them. So skip the 2 stitches behind, go into the next one and do 9 single crochet. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we're going to go X, so come down. There's our loop waiting for us. And again, wrap the yarn around for that double crochet. There's the loop waiting for us. Then we're going to do 2 back loop only, so miss those 2 stitches, back loop only, and then we're going to do our X and another X. Then we're going to do a back loop only and end with a single crochet and a chain 1. So there you can see we're really getting the design starting to come together. In fact, we're on the top half of the design and the rows are going to get easier. We're going to turn our work and we're going to single crochet across, and I'll meet you at the end of this round so we can get ready for row 21. So 21 starts with a single crochet, and then the next one is an X, so there's our loop waiting for us. Wrap the yarn around, down you go into a double crochet, and now we're going to do 13 single crochets. So miss the stitch behind, and then we're going to work 13 single crochets. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. When you're looking at the chart, it also helps to see, my last one was above these two white double crochets, and that lines up on the chart. So my next stitch is going to be an X, so we're wrap the yarn around for double crochet, and there's my loop lying where it should be. And then another double crochet. And then we miss the two behind, and we do back loop only. So we've got that arc going on there, and another back loop only. And then we want a double crochet, so wrap the yarn around, come down. There's our loop. And then we end with a single crochet. Chain one, and then we will work our way back across the wrong side row. So remember, while I'm doing this, if you're finding that it's moving too quickly, you can slow it down using the speed for the YouTube, or you can pause it if you find like you're getting behind, because I do just leave the wrong side rows to you, and I do go over the single crochets rather quickly. So again, you can pause it anywhere to catch up with me. The reason I move along quickly with some of this stuff is because I don't want the video to be super duper long. So I will meet you back at the end of this wrong side row, and we'll get ready to work on row 23. So row 23, single crochet in the white color, so we're on the right one there, and then back loop only. And now we're going to single crochet 15 stitches. So we're actually almost back to where we were at the bottom. It really just repeats in reverse what we did at the bottom. So we get a lot more single crochets. So this one is one of the nice ones to learn mosaic off of, because there is so much plain single crochet, and the stitch pattern is a nice obvious one, so you know if you're on track or not. So we were going 15. I believe this is our 15th. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we have an X, and we are going down in and doing our double crochet, and then another X. So another double crochet in that front loop way down in the previous rows. And then we do back loop only, so miss those two stitches, back loop only, and then we do a plain single crochet and chain one. So we're going to work across row number 24, and I'll meet you back here for row 25, which is our last chart row. Row 25 is done in the blue, and it is our simplest row next to a straight single crochet row. So we're going to single crochet in our first stitch. Then we have an X, so wrap the yarn around like a double crochet, prep, and then you go down, you look for that loop. There it is, sitting out front. You get used to what you're looking for the more you do it. Skip the stitch behind, and then we're going to do single crochet all the way across until we get to the last two stitches. So kind of exciting. We're on our last row. This pattern will be finished. So again, I've made these squares so that they're really great for either a large coaster or a small trivet. And I will show you in the next video how to do the edging. Oh, losing track of where I'm going here. Last two stitches, here we are. So we have an X, so we go down, double crochet, and then we need a single crochet, and then we chain one because we still want to do our final wrong side row. So to make everything balance color-wise, I always add in this last row on our wrong side, because when we started we did 2 rows of blue at the beginning. So I'm big into symmetry, and I like when my patterns look balanced. So we'll pull it up to the end here. So now if you're just going to finish this off, then you just finish off your blue, and then we're going to turn it around and take a good look at it. So now we've completed our mosaic square. You may want to finish off the edge by working around the square as I've done with this one. It finishes it up nicely for a drink coaster or a kitchen trivet, or it makes the square easier to join to other squares if you want to make it part of a larger project. You can find the technique that I used to do this in a separate video, which you can find the link to in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me in this video, and again, you can find all the info on the supplies I use, as well as a chart over on my blog. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.